What's up, everybody? I'm back, and today I'm gonna be doing a really, really big Eternal review. With you guys, and this gonna be spoiler. So if you guys have not yet seen the movie, please see the movie. And I have a special guest with me today. Please introduce it to my man.
Hey Bob, thanks for having me on here. Excited to talk some Eternals with you.
What did you think about Eternal? What did you think about the movie?
Yeah, so Eternals is a lot of movie, to say the least. We've got I think like seven characters, about seven Eternals that we're following here. Overall, I enjoyed what it wanted to do, what it was going for. I feel like they were trying to take on a little too much for the first film, but I did enjoy like the character of Cersei. I think Gemma Chan did a fantastic job. I enjoyed just about all of the Eternals. I kind of wish we got a chance to see more of their relationship. The story kind of shows them throughout time, throughout history, and they're kind of separated. So we have to kind of like bring the team back together. I kind of wish we spent a little more time with them together instead of like having most of the movie they're separate and we're trying to bring them back. But overall, yeah, I had a fun time with the movie. What about you? What were your thoughts on Eternals?
To be honest, this movie had a really deep message to me because, like, I'm deaf, and and teen evil like me on screen really made me feel happy, and also watching the movie itself made me feel happy. Yet, there was moments where the comedy fell flat, and the ending just felt like, oh, expect us to come to have a cliffhanger. And yet the
Mhm.
movie did have a lot of element to it, but to be honest, it was beautifully done, and Chloe did an amazing job. Like in the end of the
Agreed.
day, she did an amazing job, and nobody can take that away from her.
Yeah, Chloe Zhao is one of the best directors in Hollywood, so she really brought it with this film. Again, the issues are more like script wise, like direction wise. I thought she did a fantastic job. Visually, this movie is stunning too. Like it's one of the best. It's probably the best Marvel movie as terms of cinematography and everything. Everything felt epic. It felt like she was trying to tell this grand story because she is, especially with characters like the Eternals that are, immortal and the Celestials basically building the Marvel universe. I think Chloe brought it with this film. Yeah, like you said, there are a few issues here or there, but I think overall it's really cool on the effort she brought in. Like you said, the representation in this film was one of my favorite parts about it. Like it was handled beautifully. And what were your thoughts on the character of Makari since she is deaf? Like, do you think they handled that aspect well, or do you wish they did a little bit more with her?
Like I really wish that they would have brought her character more into the table a little bit, but when they were
Mhm.
on screen, they would really have brought a comedy breakout, and really
Yeah.
made her character grow. And what I was knowing about was that they wouldn't have subtitles, so you would just have the hand movement. But I was really happy they had the subtitle, and I'm hoping that they bring her back for more movie because her character, and with the movie bringing diversity, it really brought me to tears, and seeing her in the end credit scene
Yeah.
made me feel more happy. They're gonna bring her back. It's a more definite. So I really love her character. How about you? What did you think about the character?
I I loved her character. I wish we saw more of her. That's kind of my issue with this movie is that like we were talking before we started about like how Spider-Man's going to have all those villains, right? It's going to be hard for them to juggle. I feel like Eternals had too many characters not because it couldn't handle it, but because I wanted to see more. I wanted to see more of Gilgamesh, or more of Thena's story. I wanted to see more of Makari's story because they're all interesting. And that's a strength of the movie that they are all great characters. They're all characters that I do want to see again. I just wish we were, like you said, we did a little bit more with them. That's something, like you said, that post credit scene leads us right into a sequel, though. So we know they're going to be back, which is great. But I feel like at points we spent a little too much time with Cersei and Icarus, not enough time developing some of these other characters, because frankly, I just thought these other characters besides Icarus were more interesting.
Yeah, like to be honest, I really felt like when the movie was in progress making the movie, we all thought that the character of the boyfriend who played in Game of Thrones was going to be a bigger aspect, and we're going to see the transformation of him becoming
Yeah,
he the real superhero of the the night. But
yeah, the
we
Black
never
Knight.
we never got that, and it did. I would have wished we would have got a little bit of his character, and then in the end when he said, "Oh, I have to tell you about my family history," and then when it cut to the title in Audrey, I said, "Oh, come on, like you're gonna end the movie with a cliffhanger." What we
Yeah.
doing here? I want to know where his family history come from. So it was a little bit. The ending just felt a little bit. I can't tell it sloppy. I
Mhm.
did feel a little bit like it was too quick. It was like everything happened so fast in the end.
Yeah. Yeah, you're totally right there. Especially, I think that's the problem with like the film community seeing casting and knowing these characters beforehand. Because the movie, like you said, we expected Kit Harington to play the Black Knight in this movie. They announced it at Comic-Con and everything, but the movie gives no focus to that, and it's kind of less, like you said, as a stinger in the post-credit scene for a sequel or a spinoff. And it's like, that's again like the movie did nothing for us to expect that, but Marvel announcing that casting and it being like out in the air in the ether before the movie came out gave you a certain level of expectation, and it didn't quite meet it there. So yeah, I totally get what you mean by you wanted to see more from Kit Harington's character of Dane Whitman, I think his name was in the movie, but he wasn't on screen long enough for us to really do anything. Especially like that family history bit was suggested in the beginning of the movie, and then we just never revisit it until the post-credit scene, like you said, which is just like you said, a little bit sloppy. We could have handled that a little bit better. I agree.
Like, and also to be honest with you, like with this movie, this was on my top list of Marvel movies to go see, and to
Mhm.
be honest, is it a movie I was excited about? Most definitely because of the character or the depth, and also because it's different. It breaking
Yeah.
the MCU mold, but people are more excited for Spider-Man no way home, and also trust me, I'm hyped for that movie. Like 100%. When that movie
Yeah.
open up, I'll be up in that movie theater watching that movie from day one. But like I just feel like the problem that I don't understand is that this movie is different. Yes, it's very different than any other Marvel movie, but it's unique. Everybody's used to the same formula, and with Marvel, and no offense to anybody, but I feel like the movie different, and people that criticize it for multiple reasons to that made me feel like it's pointless. Why are you criticizing the movie and telling people not to go see it? Everybody have their own opinion and stuff like that.
Yeah, I can't speak to people telling other folks not to see the movie. That's not fair. They should be able to make up their own opinion. I agree on that part. But like you said at the end of your statement there, everybody does have their own opinion. So, like you said, though, it is built different from other Marvel movies. I agree there. And again, that goes back to it's tackling so much. I feel like if they pulled one thing back from the movie, it might be a little more well received. Simply because we have the Celestials, we have the Deviants, we have the twist. This is a spoiler discussion, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we have the twist with the Celestial and the Deviants, and with Icarus, and it's like I think that was a lot to throw at an audience in the time frame of the movie. If the movie was a little longer, or if they even saved like the Icarus twist for the sequel. That might have worked. So I feel like some complaints are valid, but yeah, you should definitely never tell people not to see the movie. Let them make up their own decision, their own mind.
Yeah, like to be like let dive into some spoiler talk here. What did you think about the end credit scenes?
So I don't know how big a fan you are, Bob, of Marvel comics, like knowing these characters from the comics. I know Patton Oswalt was voicing that like little troll guy. I'm not sure what's going on with Harry Styles. I know they said he's Thanos' brother, but like I didn't know what to make of it. Neither did the audience. We just see Harry Styles is in the movie now, and then it just kind of ended, and we weren't sure what to make of it. So I don't really have thoughts on the end credit scenes because I kind of left a little confused, except for the Kit Harington one where he picks up the sword. I kind of had a handle on that one. I thought that was kind of cool for what they did. I wish they did a little bit more with it. But what about you? Like, were you able to follow what they were trying to set up there? I like the idea of them finding or going after the other Eternals. That's kind of cool.
Like
But
to
some of
be
those characters that popped up there, I was confused.
like to be honest, Harry Styles one felt a little bit confusing because
Yeah.
Marvel haven't announced that Harry Styles is gonna have a contract with Marvel, so I don't know if he's gonna be playing the character that he's gonna play, or this is a cameo. So another actor can step in, but the final one was really good. Do you know what the voice you heard in the final one?
So I heard about it after, like reading up on it after the fact. I was so confused because I didn't recognize the voice at the end. It sounded familiar, but I didn't realize it was Mahershala Ali. So do you have an idea? Like, do you think Blade, like, do you think the Black Knight is going to be in the Blade movie? Or do you think that Blade is going to be in a Black Knight movie?
Like to be honest with you, it to go either way. All what Marvel they're
Mhm.
doing is they're testing the water. They're making sure that the character voice of Blade is good. And to be honest, I would love to have seen that baby in the back, like in the background,
Mhm.
Blade to come out of the dark, and everybody would have yelled. But hearing his voice, it felt a little bit too deep and too like low. It felt like a low voice, and you really have to
Yeah.
listen to the voice carefully.
Yeah, yeah, you're right because again, I didn't even know who was voicing it after I left the movie until after like the next day I saw it on Twitter. So I wonder why they didn't just bring him on screen. Do you think he like recorded that from his house and they put it in the movie? Like, why wasn't he on set on screen? The camera could have just panned it to Blade, and that would have got everybody a little bit more excited in the moment instead of finding out after the fact.
I felt like the end credits to Eternal, they were good, but they they were underwhelming. I just felt like they
Yeah.
were underwhelming for what they handled.
Mm-hmm. I agree there. I know we kind of jumped because this is a spoiler discussion. We kind of jumped to the post credit scenes. What did you think about the story with the Celestials? Just kind of going backwards a little bit. Like we had the twist with the Celestials and the deviants there with Ajax throughout the film. What were your thoughts on that entire aspect? I just want to see where you're at.
Like to be honest, the aspect with the celestial, it felt very it felt very like it felt really good, but the aspect
Mhm.
of that that the tricks and with the monsters and stuff, and then
Yeah.
with the part when you throw one of the characters go into the mine, and you throw how all of them were robots, and how
Mhm.
the monsters were attacking it. Oh, so did how you didn't do the movie like did like what it did, and then the part, and then all the part when everybody died, when the monster came in, it did. There's no real villain here. Who's the villain? Um,
Right.
um, what are you
I guess
doing? What are you?
Celestial was the villain, huh?
Yeah, I didn't matter who's the villain here. And then also the character design of the monsters, they look
Mhm.
very similar. And every movie, every horror movie, targeted aspect. In a tri-plated targeted aspect, and in any movie, the monster design looked like the monster from Stranger Things. The whole aspect of the monster looked like the monster from Stranger Things. I
Yeah.
said, why do you go with the character design of the monster of the creature? Then you do something different. So the whole monster
Everything looks like a Demogorgon. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
the whole monster aspect of it, and
Mhm.
and with the villain aspect, I wasn't really happy with it. I was a little bit disappointed, and to be honest with you, Marvel is no stage when it comes to it. Though though I really feel like the villain could have been handled more correctly.
Yeah, I totally see where you're coming from. I agree. I think that's like you were saying that people were having issues with this movie and that this isn't a normal Marvel movie. You're right in the sense that, like, if you're coming to a superhero movie for good guy versus bad guy, but the bad guy in this film is kind of, like you said, a little all over the place and it's not quite clear what's going on. At the end of it, you're just like, who really was the villain? I can see that disappointing people. The meat of the story, though, are the Eternals themselves. Again, specifically characters like Cersei and Fastus. Those are the heart and soul of the story of Eternals. And personally, I think all the actors did really good with the roles they were given. The villains, though, like you said, fall well short of what we would want in a story like this. That's why, like, some people have floated out the idea that this probably would have been better as a TV show, where you can spend more time developing the characters and the villains. Do you think it would have been better if it was served up as like a 7 episode show on Disney Plus, or do you
Like,
like it as a movie as
to
is?
be honest with you, I'm gonna keep it real with you here.
Mhm.
Disney, okay, the fans of Marvel, they didn't, they didn't a little bit, like with movies in general. People want the same flow, not something different. And Eternal is different in nothing like we see before from Marvel. It's beautifully done. With Eternal, to be honest, I think it would have been better as a movie and not as a
Mhm.
TV show.
Yeah. I think it would have been, yeah, like you said, I don't know if a TV show would have made it better. It probably would have made it flow a little smoother, but I think overall it's fine as a movie. Again, I would have scaled back, like maybe take the deviants out and just have the Celestials. That may have been a little too much. But as is, I think the movie's fine. I I enjoyed the characters. I enjoyed, like you said, it's trying to be different. And that's really what's at the heart of the thing. And I think it accomplishes that. It is different from the other Marvel films. And I think Chloe really brought heart to it. I I'm excited for the sequel because I think that's the most interesting part to me, of like how they all go off, or some of them go off to search for the other Eternals that the Celestials created. That's the plot that's really interesting to me. So I honestly am really excited for the sequel. So that's what I'm excited for, honestly. Like, I really don't care about that other post-credit scene with Kit Harington and the sword. I want to see what happens when they go find the other Eternals, because that should be exciting.
What did you think about Sprite? The young, the younger
Yeah.
character. The whole character was very interesting. I love the
Yeah.
character development, but my mom told me, oh, the relationship between her and the villain, that was a little bit too uncomfortable. And
Oh yeah.
then when I looked her up online, she's only 14. I did. How old is the villain? Like like though, I did. Oh, okay. Like that dynamic was a little bit. It was a little bit too much. I did feel like
Too close.
her character was okay, but the some of the things they were doing just felt a little bit too forced or maybe a little
Mhm.
bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, Leah McHugh is the actress who plays Sprite. I think she did a fantastic job. Honestly, she did really well in the role of Sprite. As far as the character of Sprite, I thought she was fine. I thought she did really well. Her relationship with Icarus, I think that's what you're speaking to. Richard Madden's character, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Icarus. That it would have been uncomfortable if they went further than what they did. I think they took it just as far as they could without making it too weird, you know? Like the comparison that Kingo made of them being Peter Pan and Wendy. That I understand that. I think that makes sense. Um, the ending is where things got a little weird for me. How she like I don't think they did a good job establishing the relationship between those two for her to betray the other Eternals at the end of the movie. That's the thing that I didn't quite enjoy. That's another one of those things where it's like, I wish we could have developed their relationship more to make that twist really pack a punch. But overall, the actress did a great job, and I think the character sprite is pretty cool, things considered.
Yeah, like all the characters in Dynamo were really amazing and had their own unique story, and I truly love that about the movie.
Yeah, for sure. All the characters are so interesting that some of them, like, they don't get a lot of play, but like Kingo's chauffeur, right? He was hilarious. And again, Gilgamesh, Thena, Sprite, Festus, Ajax, they're all great characters that I think they can also lead their own films. That's how interesting they were. Like, I'd love to see a film just about Makari and is it Druig? Those two are great. I want to see a lot more of them. I wish we saw more of them here, honestly.
Yeah, like before we did the aspect of more of that bringing in bringing in more disabled people for Marvel. I want to know your thought involving Anthony Jolie at Hot Character. What do you think about Hot Character?
Yeah. I think her character was fantastic. She was one of the highlights of the movie for me. Um, I know I've harped on this a couple times though. It's like there's so many that we couldn't properly dole out screen time to all of them evenly. But yeah, she was a highlight for me. I loved all of her scenes. I love her action scenes, everything. I think she had the best action scenes in the entire film, personally. What about you?
Her role was on a deep level and really a dark level, and even about her past it felt really good, and the
Mhm.
movie as a whole that felt like it was a hard rated PG-13 because of all the aspects they were throwing out there and all the diversity. And to be honest, I love that aspect. I really
Yeah.
applaud the movie for doing something different and something out of the box.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that's unfortunately, like you said, the reception. Like, I don't want people to tell others not to see the movie. If you didn't enjoy it, that's fine. That's okay. But it's like you don't want to boycott a movie because it did do all those things you said. Even if you didn't love it, like I don't think I enjoyed it quite as much as you did. But I enjoyed, like you said, it wanted to be different. It wanted to be more diverse. It introduced like they could have had a person play a deaf character, but they actually found a deaf actress. That's important, and that is something that should be applauded, honestly, because she came in and knocked it out of the park, became my favorite character of the movie.
Yeah, and like to be totally honest with you, like a lot of people are saying, oh, Chloe to downgrade after the movie because this movie was the mid depth. Come on, like if you don't like the movie, you don't have to boycott it and say, I
Yeah,
don't watch it. Wait for Disney Plus. Come on, let people base it on their opinion. If they like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. What's the big deal?
yeah, exactly. And that's why it's good that like this video we're doing right now. That's why it's good to have diverse opinions, to have people in your comic section discussing the movie, and having different opinions about it is fine because that creates a dialogue on what to do. the next time. Like, okay, you thought that they had too many characters in this movie or had too many plot lines. That's just feedback for them to scale it back for the next one, or we're applauding the diversity of this movie. That means they now know it works and they can ratchet it up for the next movie. Like we were talking about Spider-Man. Spider-Man and Eternals aren't even on the same level as far as diversity goes. But with the success of Eternals, maybe Spider-Man 4 will do better. That's the point of having these conversations and hoping that's the lesson I want them to take from this movie.
Yeah, you brought up Spider-Man. So some of these reviews were referring to over the story, and then that brings me to a really lot of the point. So you're telling me that everybody didn't go out there, their baby mama, their dogs, everybody in the whole block, the dirty Spider-Man far from home. You're adding multiple different villains. You're adding multiple different plot points, and it doesn't have an overtop story. So where do we bring here? Everybody is the same formula with Marvel. They love the old heroes, and I get that. Me too. But but like I just felt like a lot of people are too biased when it comes to supporting the old hero and not supporting the new hero. And when it comes to Spider-Man, you then bet $100 that they say, oh, we love the story, and then I'm gonna say, but Eternal had so many different plot, so many different storyline and people, and Spider-Man didn't have so many different stuff happening all at the same time, and that also gonna be over the story. What the difference?
For what it's worth, I think you also need to keep in mind that we haven't seen Spider-Man yet. So I don't think we can make judgment on how stuffed the movie is until we finally see the product itself. Like, even marketing wise, we haven't seen the other, like, we assume Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are in it. That's not officially confirmed. We haven't seen them in like a poster or a trailer as of the time we're doing this video. So I think I get what you mean by like it's a double standard. But to some people's credit, we haven't quite seen that from Spider-Man just yet. Now, if they don't change their tune when the movie comes out and all that stuff's revealed, totally agree. But let's give them a small benefit of the doubt until we see that stuff pop up in Spider-Man.
True, and I think after this video is over, later tonight we're gonna get the fourth poster for Spider-Man anyway.
Yeah. So again, like by the time people see this, I might be wrong, and you might see everybody on that Spider-Man poster. It's 1,000 villains and 4 different versions of Spider-Man. But
Yeah,
again,
yeah, and possibly, hopefully, we get a trailer tomorrow, and as well because if you're releasing a poster at 10 p.m. at nighttime, and it's for a poster, you gotta release the trailer tomorrow. It only fair for the fans.
yeah, that's usually how Marvel does it. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get, because the last one was a teaser anyway. So I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if the first trailer drops tonight or tomorrow. You're totally right there.
Yeah, no, but like Eternal, I just felt like it was really good for what it was. Do I think it gonna win any awards? Nah, not so much. Do I think Chloe did an amazing job with the movie? Most definitely. Would I want it again on Disney Plus? Yes. Would I buy it on DVD? I have too many DVDs in my house. I don't have any more space. But would I buy
That's what
it?
Disney Plus is for.
Would I watch it on Disney Plus? Yes, I would watch it a billion different times. And to be honest with you, I have to give the movie 10 stars. How about you? What do you give the movie?
Ooh, out of 10?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a tough question because there's a lot of things I liked. There's a few things that didn't quite work. I would say maybe like a 7, a 7 out of 10. Just a terrible. But, again, like my favorite characters in the film are characters like Gilgamesh and Makari and Druig, Festus. Those are characters that didn't get as much screen time as Cersei, Icarus, or Sprite. And so for me personally, I wanted more of all of the other Eternals except for the ones that the movie gave the most focus to. So that drops my score a little bit lower, but overall, the movie's fine. I don't I don't hate it or anything, but
But
yeah,
now,
yeah.
how about the music? We were supposed to be getting a full out, like Black Panther type music with BTS,
Mhm.
Ligdo, and all these different people. But where were they? Where was the music? I said, oh, okay, like, well, the music. I was waiting for BTS. I was waiting for BTS to come on, but nothing. They really didn't showcase any of that.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything about them getting like BTS or anything for this movie. So that was a rumor or announcement I guess I missed. But yeah, if it was supposed to be on the level of Black Panther's soundtrack, it wasn't even close. I thought the score was pretty good as is though, without having like the guest appearances. So I thought the score overall was really solid. But yeah, I didn't know about that soundtrack you mentioned there. That's interesting.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
sure what happened.
like everybody was so happy, and now BTS is part of Cliff with the Big Red Doors coming out this week. They have their
Oh
showing in the
wow.
movie. I said, oh, I can't wait to review that movie. That's gonna be a whole different level, like right there. But like I was expecting pop music for the movie
Mhm.
because of of how diverse it was. But to be honest, the music was fabulous. It goes well with the movie itself.
Yeah, I agree. That's why I said the score was really well done. I don't think having like a pop band like BTS or anybody in this film would have fit the tone of the movie. Like the movie was very serious, very grounded. So I feel like having BTS singing Dynamite might have been a little bit distracting. But if they want to incorporate that a little bit into future movies, that'd be cool. But yeah, the score that they had was really, really solid.
He would really like now let's talk about diversity in Marvel. Like, have you heard about a character who's gonna premiere on Hawkeye? Her name is Echo. Have you heard about the character a little bit, or seen a little bit about the history about the character?
I don't know much about Echo, which is strange because I know a lot about Hawkeye. Hawkeye is one of my favorite Marvel characters in the comics. The run that the show is taking inspiration from is probably my favorite comic book storyline of all time, and Echo isn't in it. So I'm really interested to see how they introduce Echo. The only thing I know about her, I believe she's the Native American character, if I'm not mistaken. You can help me out with that though if you know anything about her.
Okay, so this may surprise you.
Mhm.
Echo is Native American. She's able. She's deaf. She can't. She's
Oh,
deaf,
is she?
and her father got killed by Kingpin. So now she's with Kingpin, and the actress is deaf, and also she had only one leg. So you're using diversity to a whole new level, and it says
For
this
sure.
right here. This what we need more. This what we need more. Nobody no talked about anything able he would in Marvel, and more people to really talk about it, because to be honest, I feel good. I feel good. I feel happy that they're doing this, and I feel empowered. More people who are not able to get on a bandwagon and really, you
Mhm.
know, talked about more of the disabled community involving superhero entertainment in general, because it's good to really branch out and really talk about what not in Hollywood, and what do we need to include more of.
For sure. Again, I didn't know anything about Echo until you just explained that to me. That's actually really awesome, and I can't wait to see what they do with that character. Especially with her connection to Kingpin, because Daredevil's another character, that has a disability with him being blind, relatively speaking. So that's going to be really interesting to see how that like kind of comes into the play into the MCU as well with those two characters. But yeah, like you said, incorporating more diversity, pushing boundaries. That's what it feels like this entire phase of the MCU has been about, honestly. with characters like Sam Wilson becoming Captain America, or the LGBTQ relationship we had in Eternals, being a first for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It feels like this entire phase 4, is ushering a more modern age into the Marvel Universe. So yeah, definitely. I think characters like Echo, Makari, even again, like Sam Wilson taking on the mantle of Captain America, that's bringing in a new era of diversity. And I think, like the Young Avengers as well, if you know those characters from the comics, is another aspect that they can lean into a little bit later. So yeah, I think diversity in the MCU is going to be going up. Like, we're not going back to the days where the majority of the characters, like in the Avengers movies, were heterosexual white people. We're adding more diversity in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that's exciting.
Like to be honest, like with Hawkeye and Daredevil, a lot of people are not excited about the show because they think that character is not so good. But to be honest with you, I know nothing about the storyline involving what they're doing for, and I know nothing about what they're doing with the show. Anyhow, but I'm really excited to see what they do with it, and with Disney Plus in general, with Marvel, they're really taking a huge step in making the show really good.
Yeah.
With What If, I just felt like that was underwhelming and disappointing. But
Mm-hmm.
with WandaVision, Falcon with the Dodo, Loki, those shows were very good. What If, it felt like it was all filtered. It was all different universes from different movies. So like
Yeah.
I don't consider that as more as a legit Marvel show. So like I'm really excited to see where Disney Plus do with every superhero and every villain that's gonna be going up with Marvel.
Yeah, for sure. They're at an interesting point because you were talking about people who are attached to the old generation of heroes, right? Well,
Yeah.
this year alone, we saw Wanda, Vision, Sam, Bucky, like these supporting characters get the spotlight. Now we're seeing new characters like Moon Knight, Echo, Kate Bishop, She Hulk, Blade, even are kind of being pushed to the forefront, as well as the Eternals. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Marvel handles introducing all these, new characters, and how the audience is receptive to those new characters. Because this was the first film, I think, was it since like Black Panther probably, or Captain Marvel, that it's about an entirely new character that hasn't been introduced in any other movies or spin-offs or sequels or whatever. The Eternals is just about that. These characters known as the Eternals. So it'll be really interesting to see how the audience kind of is receptive to introducing new characters from here on out.
Yeah, like to be honest, I'm really what's your thought about Morbius? Like like what your thought about more Morbius because also um if you look at the trailer carefully, there are multiple different scenes where you see that they are setting up the Sinister Six and you see a poster of I believe Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man photo when you see Morbius with the prison outfit outside. So, like, what do you think about Marvel bringing in more hero and more villains to Marvel and
Yeah.
yeah,
So more, it depends on what you mean, because like Morbius takes place in the Venom universe, right? Which doesn't take place in the MCU. We think, because of what happens in Venom 2. So it depends. If Morbius is introduced into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that might be really the trailer didn't do a lot for me, but I do think the character of Morbius is interesting in the comics, so I'd be cool to kind of see what happens with him in the MCU at large. But if he's in the Venom universe, that's entirely different, because as of right now, Spider-Man and all those other characters aren't established in that universe just yet. It's only Venom and I believe Carnage. So it really depends on what I think. It really depends what happens with Spider-Man. You know, if Spider-Man bridges all these other things together into a multiverse thing, that's really cool. But as far as Morbius, I don't think we know the full story with Morbius until we see the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah, like, like, what do you think the future of Marvel as a whole is after Eternal? Do you think Marvel gonna make the part two and greenlit, or do you think Marvel gonna hit it and not a lot of people are liking the movie? The box office not good. Everybody is not happy with it. So what do you think gonna happen next?
It depends because, as you've seen, fan reception to the movie has been better than the critics' reception. So I don't think it's fair to say not a lot of people have liked the movie. I think a great amount of people have actually enjoyed the movie. Maybe not all of them loved the movie, but I think as far as I think the majority has liked it. Box office wise, you got to remember also we're still in a pandemic, so box office has been low across the board for everybody. So I don't think that is going to be a major factor in their decision making. So I expect to see a sequel. I don't know if Chloe Zhao is going to be back to direct it. I don't know if she's interested in doing a sequel. But I 100% believe we're going to see these characters again. Like, Marvel's too big for anything to like fail or bomb. So if Kevin Feige wants to use the Eternals again, they're going to pop up regardless.
Like to be on, and also with Eternal being back, with that little thing that Eternal will be back soon, you tend
Yep.
to pull a tweet like that and not come back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, Marvel is too big for that to fail. Like, we've seen sequels or movies set up sequels that don't happen. Green Lantern did this. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have done this before. The Last Airbender did that as well. So we've seen movies have stingers saying so and so will return, or they're trying to set up a sequel and it doesn't happen. But Marvel's too big for it to fail, so it's gonna happen in some capacity, even if they end up meeting like the Guardians of the Galaxy or some other character. The Eternals are gonna be back 100%.
What do you think about the Superman reference?
Yeah, so I saw like people like Grace Randolph were trying to make it into a controversy. I don't understand why. Marvel, I don't know if the MCU has, but Marvel characters have referenced DC characters before because I believe DC Comics exists in the Marvel universe for the most part. I thought it was really cool because Icarus does have the same power set as Superman anyway, and so I don't know why that bothered some people, but yeah, I thought it was really cool. I liked how they were able to get that in there, especially since he's got the laser vision and the super strength and all that stuff.
I thought it was clever. I didn't think nothing more about it. I just thought the poking fun of DC, and it was friendly. It wasn't hostile anyway.
Yeah, it was just a funny joke. That's they're allowed to do that. They're allowed to get a little meta once in a while. It's not like Superman's appearing in a movie anytime soon for Marvel.
No, like what did you think about the comedy of the movie? I felt like the comedy was a little bit
Mhm.
wide sometimes. I felt like the comedy in the movie could have worked a little bit better when there
Yeah.
was comedy in the movie.
Yeah, I think that stems from the Eternals are a very like serious group of individuals, except for Camille Nanjiani's character of Kingo. That's where a lot of the humor is coming from in the movie. And I feel like you said, it's hit or miss. I think if his character was in a different movie, it'd probably hit a bit more. But we're talking about the end of the world, the end of their existence, and he's trying to film a vlog during the entire film. It didn't quite fit the tone of the rest of the movie or the rest of the characters in the movie. So yeah, I agree that the humor could have been better. It didn't ruin anything for me. It's not like it was too many jokes or whatever, like some people might say.
I felt like the cameraman was my favorite part because he had the moment that were really funny, especially when they were in the forest,
Yeah.
and he had all the different cameras. I just felt like that was funny.
Yeah, that is again having these godlike beings of the Eternals doesn't leave a lot of room for humor, but introducing a very human character in Karun, played by Harish Patel, by the way, who's fantastic. Um, I feel like introducing a human into this room full of gods was prime for humor. And that's why I think his scenes worked, because he is the only normal person. So he's trying to film all this and not die and not drop his cameras, and they're just kind of fed up with him. That worked really well. And that's the type of stuff that I think Eternals can benefit from by like crossing over with different characters. Because if everybody's an immortal god, there's not a lot you can do, especially like they've lived for thousands of years. Humor is probably beyond them at this point. But having them interact with mortals is what made for an interesting and humorous situation with those.
Like with the movie, it was very serious. It was very serious, and also it was really a test to see how people would react to it, and how people would like to be. A lot of people watch out of the movie think, oh, I like Shang-Chi better. Shang-Chi in the movie, to me, both of them were good. Regardless, both of them are my top two favorite Marvel movie of the year right now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We've been talking about like specific moments, humor, and all that stuff. What were your thoughts on like Selma Hayek's character, Ajak? I didn't expect for her to like, die that early on in the story. And we only kind of saw her throughout the flashbacks. Do you wish we saw her more of her in like present day, or were you like kind of cool with how they were telling her part of the story?
I felt like her character, like to me, it was so short. They were like, she's a good actress, but why her? Like it was good and all, but like I felt like the actor, the talent, the actress herself. I felt
Yeah.
like it wasn't that good, but the character, and it needed more character to it. So it needed more, like like some character moment, and the more character story to her. I just felt like we needed more of that.
Yeah, I agree. Especially like if she was the leader of the Eternals, I really wanted to see more. That's why, like we said earlier in the show, I think the movie would have benefited from being a simpler story about them versus the Deviants, and then the next movie you can have the twist with Icarus like betraying them and saying he's loyal to the Celestials. I feel like that could have been two movies, so we can develop Ajax's character. So when that twist happens, we feel the impact. I don't think we really felt the impact of her character or the character's death because we weren't attached to her. Because, like you said before, these are new characters, and if we didn't have time to get attached to them in this film, it didn't work in the long run as far as her character specifically.
Yeah, like also, what I really felt like the movie could have done. The movie was 2 hours and 37 minutes. The movie wasn't boring. It moved constantly, but I just felt like it needed to be more grounded, involving what are we going for in terms of having all the character, all the setup happen. So now, what you said about maybe focusing of the plot to it on part two, what would
Mhm.
have the movie looked like if they didn't add all the characters? What would the movie have turned out to be?
It's kind of like the story of Dune. You know how Dune is being part one, part two. I feel like
Yes,
we could have went about it with the Eternals were sent to Earth to fight the Deviants. The Deviants show back up. The Eternals have to stop the Deviants once more. And then you can have that twist at the end where Icarus kills Ajak and say to be continued in part two or whatever, right? The movie doesn't have to be 2.5 hours long. I feel like it could have been a good 2 hours and then have part two come out like next year, part one and part two. That's what I think could have probably served the film best. Just to make sure we have all like again, we have all these characters. You feel like they didn't give enough time to some of them. I think it would have been better if we kind of did it that way. Um, but overall, like we've been saying throughout this entire episode, they did enough. They did enough to give us something to enjoy. So even though there's some shortcomings here or there, it's not enough to say, oh, this movie's the worst movie of all time. It's just like, yeah, that could have been better, but overall, you still had fun with it, right? And that's all that matters.
Yeah, like you still had fun. You still had some like fun times with it. And
Mhm.
would you see the movie then if you had the chance to, or would you wait until we go on Disney Plus?
I'm actually seeing it again. I think Tuesday of this coming week. I'm going out with some friends to go watch it because they haven't seen it yet. So yeah, definitely. I don't have any problems checking this movie out again. I honestly might even feel differently seeing it a second time. I know my first time watching Dune, I didn't really enjoy it that much, but my second time watching Dune, I fell in love with it. It became one of my favorite movies of the year. So I definitely would give Eternals the same opportunity of, yeah, I enjoyed it the first time, but I think I might really love it the second time. So I'm definitely going to check it out again in a couple of days, honestly.
Like to be honest, I have so many movies I need to watch, and the movie we will. I have no time to watch the movie two times.
Yeah.
It like the reviewing movies is a bit harder. Like every weekend, a different movie come out.
Especially now where we had like maybe a good 7 or 8 movies this past month of October and early November that are coming out. So I know that it's very difficult for people to see all of them, especially critics who are trying to review all of them like yourself. Um, so especially like, watching them more than once. I totally get that. Totally understand. But yeah, as far as Eternals, definitely want to check it out again. And being lucky enough to make out extra time to go see it a second time is actually really awesome because I can't wait to check it out once more.
Yeah, and also if you see a movie then you get to see things you didn't see the first time around.
Exactly. I actually posted on my Twitter not too long ago that I watched Captain Marvel for the first time since the movie came out, and I had way more fun watching it the second time than I did the first. And so, yeah, it's always great to revisit movies whenever you can because your opinions might change for the better.
So like, what did you think about Black Widow? Did you think the movie was good?
Yeah, I enjoyed Black Widow. It had a hard time because it came out after her death in Avengers Endgame. So it's kind of hard to have, like the stakes of, is Natasha gonna survive this adventure? It's like we already know she does. We already know what happens long after this story, honestly. So it was kind of weird how they placed it, like after Civil War. But I think overall the movie was great. I loved her entire family. I loved the plot with the Red Room. I didn't love Taskmaster though, but Scarlett Johansson is always fantastic as Natasha Romanoff. So I had a blast with Black Widow.
Like Marvel itself, if the movie not that good, it's still a fun time watching Marvel anyway. Because
Yeah.
as a comic book fan, I love the comic book community, and to be honest, I'm excited to see what Marvel gonna do next and what Marvel has to talk for the future.
For sure. I don't think there's a Marvel movie and a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie that I hate. Like there are movies that I like more than others, but there's not one that I don't like. And maybe I just don't have the best taste, and so I just love everything they give me. I don't know. But seriously, like there's not a movie that I'm gonna say, oh, this is awful, I hate it. Even the bad ones, I still have, a fun time watching them and I can get some enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, like Marvel itself and comic book in general,
Mhm.
with movie, they really make people feel happy and really make people go out to the movie. And with Hawkeye coming out the day before Thanksgiving, it's
Yeah.
gonna be a dip to remember. It's gonna with two episodes. It's gonna be good. I think Marvel is going back to the way where they think the holidays are better to release the movie because the holidays are where the money makers are and where the box office is, and that's where you target the audience as well.
Yeah, if you're talking about specifically for the holidays, Marvel movies are kind of a comfort food when you think about it, right? They're not something super deep or dramatic, but they're still fun. They're family fun, essentially. So yeah, having Hawkeye drop Thanksgiving weekend is awesome. Having Spider-Man drop during the Christmas season is something that families can do. They can do on vacation when they're together. They can go in groups. So I think that's the perfect time, like you said, dropping it around the holidays. Not just because that's when people are off to go see movies, but also Marvel for some people is just it's their comfort food. Their comfort food. You know, you want to see Hawkeye and his family. You want to see Peter Parker and Ned and MJ. That's what makes you happy, especially in trying times like it has been the last couple of years. Having Marvel right there, a franchise that we've come to love for the last decade, it's nice, you know? It's just nice having them around.
Yeah, and also with Spider-Man coming out with the holidays, oh, that movie gonna blow everybody mind. Like that's my top movie of December. The Matrix, not so
Yeah.
much Spider-Man. Yo, I that movie right there is up there with it's up there with what I'm really excited for.
I agree. Spider-Man, like we've mentioned it a little bit during this conversation. Spider-Man is shaping up to be one of the craziest movies we will ever see. So even if the movie's bad, there's going to be so much to talk about because of all the villains or all the other characters or all the stuff that's going on. Even if the movie's not good, it'll at least be fun to talk about and discuss.
It definitely will. Do you wanna cover anything else? Like, do you wanna cover anything else, or you think we hit the basics in the head?
I think we covered just about everything as far as Eternals goes. Yeah, you know, we discussed a little bit about like Hawkeye and Spider-Man 2. So yeah, I think we can wrap this one up because we covered everything we had to say about Eternals. It's been a blast talking with you too, Bob. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you, and tell the people where they can find you and what coming up next for you.
Yeah, you can find me at Novice Cinephile. It's right here by my face here on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. It's the Novice Cinephile. I am on YouTube where I'm posting reactions, reviews, video essays, usually weekly or bi-weekly. So just check out Novice Cinephile there. I also write for Collider.com and WebamEntertainment.com. So if you want to check out any of my writings, go to Collider. I have an article up about Avatar: The Last Airbender and shows you should watch before or after watching Avatar. It's in the same vein, so I think you guys should definitely check that out as well.
And will you be reviewing the new Clifford movie for your YouTube channel, or what you feel about that?
I'm probably skipping Clifford. I'm gonna watch it. I'm definitely gonna watch it. Hopefully, I enjoy it because I grew up watching Clifford. I love Clifford. I'm not covering that movie though, probably just to catch up with like Cowboy Bebop and be ready for Hawkeye and all that stuff coming up in November. So skipping Clifford, but I'll definitely be watching it. Hopefully, we could talk about it sometime on Twitter or something.
Definitely, and it was good, having you on, and definitely we do collab more because I see that you're very big on anime. So I'm a big anime nerd myself. I love anything Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia. So you could definitely hop on it then, and we could talk more about different topics.
For sure. I haven't started Demon Slayer yet, honestly. So I'm gonna be watching that pretty soon, trying to get caught up. I heard nothing but good things about Demon Slayer, though, so I'm excited to check that one out. We definitely should talk about it once I'm caught up, though.
Most definitely. But it was good having you on, and thank you for coming on. And also, everybody, please, go and support Michael Hill. Support his Twitter and his YouTube. He has amazing content, and it was good having you on, my man.
Thanks for having me again, Bob. It's been a blast talking with you.
And now